Okay. So, hello everyone, and welcome to our broadcast. Hello, Paul.
Hi,
How are
Tatiana.
you? How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me today.
Thank you. So, today we are joined by an amazing guest, Paul Cassidy. Paul is not only a co-founder, but a visionary leader who helps small and medium-sized businesses achieve international growth through advanced technology and strategy sales execution. With an impressive background at the global technology industry, giants such as Google and Salesforce, Paul has a wealth of experience to share. His expertise spans a wide range of industry, including artificial intelligence, fintech, healthcare, and even solar software. But what really sets him apart is his ability to develop clear and effective sales strategy, the kinds that turn ideas into real results. So, if you're interested in learning about the secrets of building effective sales channels using artificial intelligence in marketing, or simply growing your business internationally, you are in for a great meeting. So, Paul, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to hearing your ideas. Did I introduce you correctly?
Yeah, that's a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much, Tatiana. Great to be here.
Okay. If everything is good, please feel free to start your presentation.
Absolutely. Let me just share the screen. Perhaps, Tatiana, I'll introduce myself as well. So really, thank you so much. You absolutely flatter me. Really, my background was spending almost a decade in Google selling SaaS software, so selling Google Workspace email to various companies. And then I got the opportunity to go on and lead large sales development teams for Microsoft and Salesforce. So these would be large teams across Europe that would be prospecting, outbounding, trying to set up meetings for for our account executives. And one of the consultants we used was Gartner a lot, and they were great in helping us to kind of craft the message, make sure we're understanding our strategy, make sure we're taking the time to approach it correctly in prospecting, and helping us measure and get insights as well. So I noticed a few years ago that a couple of the executives in London that I was friendly with left and set up this company, European Gateway. So rather than helping Google, Microsoft, and Salesforce, they wanted to help small tech businesses around Europe, and we do a lot in Central and Eastern Europe at the moment. So with that, I can shift into the presentation and show you how we do it.
Okay, please.
Super. So what makes us different as a pipeline generation company or sales company is certainly the talent. So a lot of talent that largely came over. The leadership came over from Gartner and myself from Google. And the one thing we also have is the Gartner process. So a process that helps us build this sales manual, the correct sequencing for approaching an outbound prospecting campaign. We're headquartered in London, but we have an operation in where I am here in Dublin, Ireland, also Hanover, Germany, and Copenhagen in Denmark. We've over 100 clients for the past 6 years, and we sell into multiple industries. Lots of happy clients, as you can see here. What we're typically selling is around 50% is custom software development services. So smaller software houses that are developing apps or websites, and also about half have a product, so like a SaaS product, and more it's in artificial intelligence. So how do you use AI to sell AI? Is the question that we ask every day, and in a variety of different industries as well that we're selling. And one thing I'm noticing is compliance software and compliance technology is really important, especially within the European Union now, in the likes of Northern Central Europe. The way we would approach bringing on a new client and them wanting to get more customers, we would start by building a playbook. So the playbook is based on a manual that Gartner has. And what we want to do is get this step-by-step guide in how to understand what is our value story. So we'd start by understanding the target market, the buyer personas. We hypothesize about, what are their challenges, then go even further and understand what are the implications of those challenges. We would then build a value story. So the value story is going to be like, why are you different as the client? Why are you different? And how have you proven that? So do you have case studies? And then ideally, do you have some metrics like a return on investment? We would then build sequences based on that. And the sequences will look something like, a call, an email, LinkedIn. The medium is less important. The message itself is really important, and the targeting. What we also build will be a question prompter. So what are the open, probing, and confirming questions that we should be asking a prospect to get them to understand the value in our product or solution? But also, what are the questions we need to ask to make sure they're qualified as an opportunity for us to continue to engage with them? For example, do they have budget? And that would be really important for accelerating any sales cycle. We have two services. The first would be Pipeline Builder. So here, what we want to do is start off by understanding warming up the potential leads. So we would identify the targets that we want to go after, but then we want to build that slight interaction with them. And we'll do that by building content, posting on social media. So something like a case study, newsletter, blog post. Then we would go into an event, and this is a great way of getting to the buyer profiles to actually understand their challenges better. So we get a great return on our webinars, and this gives us a platform to be able to do our lead generation better. So as we're calling or messaging them through LinkedIn, we have an idea of what their challenges are already. And what we're doing here is making sure it's a qualified opportunity, and then we ultimately set it up for our next meeting, which is more the actual, let's say, the closing part, so further down the sales funnel. And this can be done with the next stage, which is sales execution. So here we would go further down the funnel to actually close the opportunity with 3 additional steps. The first being a discovery. For me, that's a deep dive into making sure that we're all on the same page with how we want to close this opportunity in a B2B scenario. The most important for me there in a discovery meeting is getting the compelling event, not our compelling event, but the prospect's compelling event. So what's driving them? What is the deadline that they need to adhere to? Next, we would go into the solution validation. So everyone wants to test or assess us in a B2B sale. And in solution validation, what's interesting is we want, in something I used to always lose my deals in Salesforce. They would drop in the solution validation stage. So somebody would test and I would give them a free trial, and then I would call them in 30 days and hope that they liked the product. But in European Gateway, we want to do it differently. We get the prospect to firstly identify what is their success criteria. So why are they testing our product or our service, or why are they assessing us? What is the criteria? Also, who cares, right? Is the decision maker the person who actually cares about this? And then most importantly, what is the action that they're going to take if we pass their test? So if we clear 80% of their success criteria, what are they going to do? And that will create that personal contract, create that urgency to bounce them into the closing phase of this sales process. And that's probably the hardest thing to do, is actually get them, get the prospect into being comfortable enough to work together. And at that point, you just want to use the rapport that you've built with the prospect to tease out any risk factors, make sure we're engaging with the decision maker. And then at that point, we really want to just be accurately forecasting as well. Something I'm finding for our clients, the SMB in tech, forecasting is becoming more and more important to be able to understand their cash flow needs for investment. A very detailed and secure forecast is very important. What we have as a pricing structure is, we charge a monthly fee. We keep the fee rather low for kind of UK standards. It typically covers our costs. And what we want to do then is focus on the commission. So that helps us keep motivated and keep us working in partnership with our clients. So that's what we're looking for, is a long-term partnership with SMB tech companies to gain a foothold into Northern, Central, Western Europe, and even the US as well. The last thing I might want to show you is how long does it take and what are the results? So what we're seeing, and I talked to a few of our clients, put this together back in July on how long does it take and what are the sort of sales cycle expectations. And what we're finding is, depending on the type of, if it's a service or a product, that will really dictate the length of sales cycle. And what we're seeing is, in month one, we're doing that onboarding, that strategy, setting up our systems. We're not getting a huge amount of meetings at that point. What we'll see is 2 to 3 meetings per week in month 2 and month 3. What we want to see in month 4 and month 5 is a continuation of those meetings, but also opportunities. So opportunities are like a prospect that's super interested, wants to work together, is in the sales cycle. And it's typically by month 5 or month 6 that those opportunities are turning into closed business. So that's kind of an idea of what the results are. And at that, I'll pause and see, Tatiana, if you have any questions.
Yes, of course. I have questions. I prepared some questions. So because it's really a lot of new information. So, Paul, you have worked for global giants such as Google and Salesforce. What key sales principles do you bring to your current business, your job?
Yeah, certainly. One of the most important things is around alignment with our prospects or our team, if there's a number of people going for the sale. So, for me, that comes from listening, active listening, really understanding what the prospect is trying to achieve, what are the motivations behind this. So, really trying to understand that. I'd also say, making sure we're focused on the business aspects of things. So I've noticed, working with some of our technical clients, there is a tendency for IT people to focus on the code and the more technical aspects of what they can do. And for me, it accelerates the sales cycle, Tatiana, when we shift the conversation towards what are the business goals and how can we help focus on those business goals? Is there a way to reduce costs, increase their growth, or reduce risk? And they're really the 3 things that tend to come up.
Okay, I understand. So, in your experience, what are the most often challenges you face when entering new markets, especially for technology companies?
Yeah, great question. Within Europe, I think more and more what we're seeing is, there's a lot of compliance to go through, and folks buyers are increasingly trying to reduce their risk. So being able to be, I think, clear about what the offering is, the clarity around that is super important. One thing as well we're seeing in the European market is a lot of software developers may have had quite a lot of success. There was a lot of demand for the services maybe a few years ago during our COVID experience. Now there's less demand. So what we're seeing is the challenges of that low demand are making the software developers actually have a more packaged service or even a product. So we have a transportation company at the moment that we work with in the Czech Republic, or they're a software developer specifically for transport. And this year we've helped them actually pivot towards more of a product. And that's something that can scale quite quickly, and there is demand for it, and it's easier to get funding. So I think that would be that's the challenge, and there you go. There's the solution.
Okay, thank you. So you referred to artificial intelligence and fintech. How can this technology improve sales process for small and medium-sized businesses?
Yeah, sure. So there's so much out there at the moment, varying degrees of quality in it, but certainly helping in terms of making sure that we do our research on companies beforehand. So this is a big part of sales. You know, it doesn't take a huge amount of time, and AI has helped us significantly with tools like Lusha, Zoom Info, Lead IQ. These will allow us to understand not just the data from a prospect, but you know what are they looking at online? What are their concerns at the moment? That's a really important part of it. The second thing is around productivity. So a salesperson today, or a sales development rep in particular, can work so much faster with the kind of automations that we're seeing with artificial intelligence. So productivity and research into prospects.
Thank you. So, what do you think is the biggest mistake companies make when trying to enter an international market, and how can they prevent it?
Um, yeah, it's a great question. So I think it's around you know the expectation on a sales cycle. So if they are getting into new markets, sometimes they may feel like the sales cycle or the length of time it takes to engage and win new customers might be the same as maybe in the Ukraine. And as we expand into different markets, it can take a little longer to you know to actually close an opportunity. The other thing I think that's quite relevant is the relationship building and the difference in culture. So luckily here in Ireland, we're lucky enough to have you know lots of Ukrainians, so we can integrate into their culture and vice versa. But understanding the business culture of the UK versus Germany is so significant. So making sure that we take time to understand that, what the expectations are in building a relationship, can be an important accelerator to having success in a new market.
Okay, I understand. So, how do you help companies identify and profile the target audience? Are there any key strategy for effective sales activities?
Yeah, I'll give you a little nugget. So when it comes to you know, target markets, kind of everyone wants to go after, you know, the biggest, the best, the biggest brand names. You know, they want them to be their clients. What we're seeing is there's this kind of there's this Boston College matrix that talks about the size of prize versus ease of acquisition. So those large clients, certainly they're great, they're well-paying clients. They're going to take a long time to close. There's going to be a lot of bureaucracy. And then if we go to the other end of you know of the segmentation and SMBs, there we have a concern around their ability to pay and how long they can last and how their cash flow is. So what we're finding now is actually going into the mid-market companies with you know a really strong proposition. We have that little sweet spot. So that's important. And the second thing with target markets is I would always caution if someone says that their product is perfect for everybody. What we want in a B2B sale is more of a niche, more relevant. Then we can have a message that really gets somebody excited and interested. But when you prospect and you say, hey, we can do everything for everyone, it's less interesting for me to engage with. So for some reason, our psychology, we want to have that niche area. So those are the couple of nuggets of information I'll share.
Interesting answer, thank you. So, how do you see the future of marketing technology? What innovation are you most excited about?
Yeah, well, there's, you know, one thing I follow, you may do as well, is the Y Combinator. So, you know, they really help startup companies, and I follow a lot of the Y Combinator startups. One of them is called Artisan, and they have an AI person, a salesperson, and that's kind of scary for me when you know that's where my career is, but I can start to see, you know, artificial intelligence getting to the point of being able to have a conversation with the prospect, to be able to answer questions around pricing, around value propositions, and help them that way. And what's interesting there, I think, as well, for some of your Ukrainian clients who may not have English as their first language, is that the translation is phenomenal. So we use the software at the moment. It's quite expensive, but it allows us to have a conversation where I speak English and you hear Ukrainian, and vice versa. And that's really exciting for being able to do business across an area like Europe where we all have different language.
Thank you. So, okay, and my last questions, what advice would you give to Ukrainian entrepreneurs who are trying to develop their business internationally?
Whole European gateway. Call me. I'd love to help. I'm really excited about working with both software developers and small tech companies, to help get to Northern Europe. There's some amazing technology, amazing talent coming out of the Ukraine at the moment that we already work with. So we're always keen to have those conversations. But I would say, one thing to note is definitely that the market at the moment is less forgiving for custom software developers, and more and more we see our clients that are software developers pivoting into having their own product or package. That becomes easier to scale, easier to sell, easier to digest for a salesperson, and ultimately for a new customer. So that would be my advice.
So thank you very much, Paul. Thank you for joining us today and sharing your invaluable knowledge. Your expertise has truly benefited our show, and we are incredibly grateful for your time and knowledge. So to all of our viewers, thank you for being with us. If you would like to contact Paul Cassidy or learn more about his work, you can find all the contact information you need in the description below this video. Stay tuned for more great discussion and inspiring guests. So thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Tatiana, and thank you to all your viewers. Really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great day too.